Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. As you can see, I have an array of eyeshadow palettes here. You can't even see all of them. There's some off here to the side, some off to this side, but I have my eyeshadow palettes spread out on this blanket on my bed, and we're gonna go through them. So I did do a video where, I'll link it up here, where I was ranking all of the palettes that I've tried in 2021 so far, and I've picked up 12 eyeshadow palettes, and as I look at my collection, I'm kind of running out of room to place them all, and there are just some palettes that I know I kind of want to rehome, and I want to send them on their way. So that is what we are here to do. This is by no means a huge declutter where I'm going to get rid of like half my collection. It's just more so a collection video with a sprinkle of declutter. So if you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Kelly and I love all things makeup and beauty. I love talking. I love makeup. I love talking about makeup. So if you would like to chat about makeup too, I would love to have you subscribe and be part of the K-Bella fam. But why don't we go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so there is one product that was with my eyeshadows that is not actually like an eyeshadow palette, and it's this guy right here. This is the Kevyn Aucoin, I don't even know the name of it. Here we go. The Contour Book. Volume 3, and I actually got this in an influencer Vox box to try out, and I used it a couple times and it was fine, but it's not something that I ever find myself reaching for. I normally would put something like this because it's so lightly used on my Poshmark, but I can't do that because I got this in influencer. I didn't pay for it. So I'm just going to pass this along to a friend in my life and see if they can get some use out of it. Another item that was gifted to me was this Mcgrath palette. This is the, oh gosh, what's it called? Celestial Divinity Luxe Quad in Risque Rose. Now this was actually a gift as well. Yachty Beauty sent this over to me. She picked up all of the quads and she wasn't getting use out of this one. And I've tried it a couple times. I'm not a huge fan of these top two shades, but these bottom shades are nice. And just because this was a gift, I'm going to hang on to it for now. It's really my only Mcgrath palette. So we're gonna hold on to this one, keep that in the keep pile. Then I have some e.l.f. quads. So I have this one in Rosewater. I have this one in Berry Bad. I have this one in Cream and Sugar, and this one is in Pumpkin Spice. Now these are $3 eyeshadow palettes, and I picked them up because I wanted to try them out. I think the formula is good. I do enjoy these. I think they're worth it for the $3 or $4 that I paid for it, but I never find myself reaching for them. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter all of these, and I'm just going to pass them on to some ladies in my life. Then I have the Colourpop Gather Round Sisters, the Hocus Pocus collab that came out last year. You'll notice I keep all of these plastic things. This is what it looks like right here. This was limited edition, super hard to get your hands on, so this is going nowhere. I love Hocus Pocus and I really like the packaging. This is very nostalgic, so keeping this one. Another Colourpop palette that I keep talking about is the Lemoncello Palette. This is what it looks like right here. This was one of my new to 2021 palettes. So if you want to know my thoughts and where it ranks in my 2021 so far, check out that palette, but keeping this one. I do have two Charlotte Tilbury quads down here. This one is the Rebel. This is another palette, oh, I can't open it. This is another palette that I picked up at the beginning of this year. They are all shimmer shades. Charlotte Tilbury is really expensive. These quads are like $53, I think, so definitely holding on to this one. I also have the quad in Pillow Talk that Smegs picked up for me, so I'm going to hold on to this one as well. Then I have a couple new palettes. This one is Avocado Toast by BH Cosmetics, and I just did I do 3 looks? I think I did 3 looks. So this is what Avocado Toast looks like. Definitely I'm keeping both of these palettes, but I like Avocado Toast more than Blueberry Muffin. Gosh, keeping these plastic things is like a nightmare. But then this is what the Blueberry Muffin palette looks like. And this one is not exactly my color story, but it definitely makes me think outside the box and get a little bit more creative. That shade Tempting is beautiful, so I'm holding on to this one as well. We have the Dominique Cosmetics Latte and Latte 2 palettes. This is the original Latte, and I'm pretty sure it's in like the original packaging and everything. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. I just took this with me to Vegas. It's a great like everyday, like work appropriate palette for me, so keeping that one. And I don't get as much use out of the Latte 2. I find that the shimmers are a little bit more chunky, but I still love this eyeshadow palette. I actually need to break this out and get more use out of it. I'm keeping this one as well. Then we have the BK Beauty True Beauty palette. I've talked about this one several times. This is definitely my color story, right up my alley. It's very beautiful. The shadows are very soft, so you have to be careful, but this is, again, a great work palette, and I'm keeping this one. Okay, y'all, this is where we're getting to the nitty gritty. So I have my Natasha Denona Glam palette, and I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette. I love the formula. The shimmers are amazing. Although I tend to be a warm toned lover, I do enjoy this over the bronze palette, and I reach for this one way more, so I am keeping this one. And then we have the Natasha Denona Bronze palette, and I know that people rave about this eyeshadow palette. They love it. They think it's amazing, and I definitely think the shades are pretty. But to be fair, I have not reached for this palette since I purchased it, because I feel like every single one of the looks that I create looks the same. And this is a $65 eyeshadow palette, so it's not something that I feel needs to stay in my collection just to have it in my collection. So believe it or not, I'm actually going to put this up on my Poshmark, and I will try and figure out how to link my Poshmark down below in case you're interested in it. Like I said, this is a $65 eyeshadow palette. It is lightly used. I'm going to sell this on my Poshmark and see if it can go to a better home where it gets more use, because to be that expensive, someone should be using it. We have a couple tiny Colourpop friends. This one is, I call it the Baby Yoda palette, but I think it's called like the Mandalorian or the Child palette or something. Cute green palette, definitely keeping it. Love these shadows in here. And then I have the Colourpop That's Taupe palette, and again, even though I'm more of a warm-toned lover, I do get a ton of use out of this cute, tiny little palette. I think the shades are amazing. I don't really use this shade right here, but all of the others I love, especially the shimmer shades, so keeping this one. Speaking of smaller palettes, I have my Jouer French Riviera palette. This color story is very unique. These pops of color really stood out to me, and I don't think this is the best formula that I've ever tried, but I do really like the shades, so I'm going to hold on to it. Okay, so then we have some Too Faced palettes. I have the Chocolate Bar. This is a pretty old palette in my collection. Smegs got this for me several years ago, and you know, I wanted it for so long, and some of the shades are just really beautiful. I really like these two shades right here. I don't find that I'm reaching for this a ton, but I'm going to hold on to this palette. This is where I don't know what to do. I have my Gingerbread Spice and my Pumpkin Spice. Sorry if I'm blinding you. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. These were both limited edition. But like honestly, Gingerbread Spice, I have not used this since my daughter was born. I used it several times when I first got it, and I haven't used it since. So just looking at it, I'm like, there really are some fun shades, but I haven't used it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on my Poshmark because I purchased it myself. Pumpkin Spice, I don't think I'm ready to get rid of yet. I haven't used it a ton, as you can see, but y'all, I really went through the ringer to get this thing, and I think I just need to use it more. And so for now I'm going to keep this one. The Huda Beauty Naughty Nudes, my husband got this for me as a Christmas gift. It was so sweet, and I definitely have not used this shade Slippery down here, but it's a fun neutral eyeshadow palette, and my husband picked it out for me himself, so definitely keeping this one. This one right here is the Dose of Colors Desi x Katie Friendcation palette, and I have to say, if this was not a Desi x Katie collab, I would declutter it. I don't love this formula, I don't love the shades, and I really haven't used it a ton, but because it's a collab with Desi and Katie and I really like them and you can't get this anymore, I'm going to hold on to this one. We have the Urban Decay Born to Run eyeshadow palette, and if I'm being fair, I don't love the eyeshadows. I think the colors are fun. It's a great colorful eyeshadow palette where you can step outside the box but not get too crazy. If you're like a neutral lover, you can play with color, but I do find that I get tons of fallout. However, I really love traveling. Smegs picked this palette up for me. I love all of the pictures. I love the theme, so I'm definitely going to hold on to this one, and I just need to break it out and use it some more. Okay, let's go with the oldest palettes in my collection. This is the ABH Master Palette by Mario. You can no longer get this. I do like the color story, so even though I'm not reaching for it a ton right now, definitely going to keep that one. The Modern Renaissance, on the other hand, I think its days are numbered. It's currently in my project pan, so I'm definitely going to keep it throughout the end of the year, but at the end of the year in my project pan, we'll evaluate. However, it may be time to retire this palette. Again, we have some new palettes. Artist Couture Supreme Nudes. Picked this up after lusting over it for so long, and I definitely think this is a wonderful neutral palette, so I'm keeping that one. Another neutral palette is Vive the Essential Palette. I picked one up for me and my best friend Smegs. This is what it looks like here. I don't love the shimmer shades, but the mattes are beautiful. Unfortunately, Smegs sent me a picture and like 3 of her shades popped out. And I was like, what did you do? Did you drop it? And she said, no. I just opened it and it felt loose, so I flipped it over and some fell out. I have not had that issue. Mine are still in here. Mine are okay. Like I said, I like the mattes, don't love the shimmers, but it's a new palette for me, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this one. The Sigma Ambiance palette, I am hoping that this can replace my ABH Modern Renaissance. It's just like a great like neutral everyday palette, and if you're someone like me who struggles to figure out how to wear eyeshadow sometimes, you do have quads that you can use, and that kind of helps you to figure out like how to use the eyeshadows. So I'm keeping this one. My Sydney Grace collab with Mel Thompson, Tiny Marvels, is going nowhere. Even though I am a neutral lover, I absolutely love this color story. It has such fun pops of color, and Fire Butts is like one of my absolute favorite shades of all time, so keeping this one. We're down to the bottom few. I have the Ofra Samantha March collab, Life's a Draft, and this is an eye and face palette. I don't love the eyeshadows, if I'm being fair, but I do really like the face shades, so we're gonna go ahead and hold on to this one. Then we have the Colourpop Your Golden palette. This palette was pretty affordable. You get a ton of shades. I did a whole review on this with my thoughts and everything, so I'm not gonna go into it. It is pretty redundant. It is a basic neutral palette, but I enjoy it and I'm gonna keep it. Then we have the BH Sweet Shop Sugar Comb palette. Kind of tricky to say. I mentioned that I haven't used this a ton since I picked it up, but it's a very great basic neutral eyeshadow palette, and this would actually be great for those days where I'm running late for work and I just need like a crease shade and a lid shade, so definitely holding on to this one. The Glamlight Ice Cream Dream palette is the newest palette to my collection. It is this colorful palette right here. I just did I do 3 looks or 4 looks? I think I did 4 looks. I just filmed a video using this palette, so if you want to hear my thoughts, check that out, but I'm going to hold on to this one. We are down to 2 more. I have the Kaleidos Club Nebula, which was a collab with Angelica Nyquist. Definitely going to keep this. You can't get this palette anymore, and even though it's nice and colorful, these shimmer shades are just absolutely stunning. I really love this shade right here, You're My Only Hope. That one's beautiful, so we're gonna hold on to this one. Now I left this one for last on purpose. It is my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the one, the original one that she created like on her own before she did the vault and the second one and everything, and I feel very torn. Do I use this anymore? No. Have I used it a ton in the time that I've had it? Yes. And I even used this at my friend's wedding last July where I did her makeup. This is the eyeshadow palette that I used. So part of me is like, you don't use it anymore. Why are you holding on to it? And the other part is like, you know, are you going to regret it when you get rid of it? Like for nostalgia, do you want to hold on to it? So I'm feeling very torn. Honestly, I'm feeling very torn. So because I'm feeling so torn, I think I'm going to hold on to it now and we'll just reevaluate it at the next declutter. Okay, so you can see it was more so a collection than declutter because I'm only getting rid of a few items. I'm going to go ahead and gift the Kevyn Aucoin. I actually might send it to my niece. She's a makeup artist in Michigan. I'm going to pass those e.l.f. quads along to people at work. And if you're interested, the Natasha Denona palette and the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice will be up on my Poshmark for purchase. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope that you did enjoy it. Please go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure you're subscribed before you go, because we have lots more content coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.